It was a sultry morning in Tokyo, the year 1936. The air hung heavy with the promise of rain as a sense of unease settled upon the city. In a quiet corner of the bustling metropolis, a wooden chest lay abandoned, its contents a mystery yet to be unraveled. When the chest was finally pried open, the stench of death hit the unsuspecting police officers like a physical blow. Inside, carefully wrapped in cloth, were the severed genitals of a man, a gruesome discovery that would send shockwaves through the heart of Japan. The macabre discovery led the authorities on a winding chase, ultimately leading them to a woman named Sada Abe. This case would become one of the most infamous in Japanese history, capturing the public's imagination and sparking endless debates. Sada's life story reads like a tragic ballad, a tale of unfulfilled desires and a descent into the darkest recesses of the human psyche. Her eyes, a window to her soul, revealed a complex blend of innocence and defiance, hinting at the turbulent path she would eventually tread. Born into a large and impoverished family in Tokyo, her early years were marked by neglect and hardship. The bustling streets of Tokyo, filled with the sounds of vendors and the cries of children, were a stark contrast to the silent suffering within her home. Her family struggled to make ends meet, and young Sada often found herself lost in the chaos. Sold to a geisha house at the tender age of 15, she was thrust into a world of fleeting beauty and transient pleasure. The geisha house, with its ornate decorations and the soft strumming of the shamisen, became her new reality. Here, she learned the art of entertainment, mastering the delicate balance between allure and restraint, a world where she would learn to use her charm as a weapon against the cruelty of fate. The intricate rituals of the tea house, the meticulous application of makeup, and the haunting melodies of the shamisen were all tools in her arsenal. Yet beneath the surface of this seemingly glamorous life, Sada grappled with her own demons, her heart yearning for something more than the ephemeral pleasures of the geisha world. The geisha house, with its silken whispers and clandestine encounters, became both Sada's prison and her sanctuary. Trained in the art of seduction and the intricate rituals of the tea ceremony, she learned to navigate the complex world of desire and power dynamics. Yet, beneath the veneer of elegance and grace, Sada yearned for something more, a love that could quench the fire that raged within her soul. Little did she know that her search for love would lead her down a path of no return, a path strewn with thorns of obsession and despair. Fate, it seemed, had other plans for Sada Abe. In the spring of 1936, she crossed paths with Kichizo Ishida, a man of considerable wealth and insatiable appetites. Ishida, a renowned restaurateur, was instantly captivated by Sada's beauty and the air of vulnerability that clung to her like a shroud. Their connection was instant and intense, a whirlwind romance fueled by lust, jealousy, and a shared hunger for something more than the mundane. Sada, starved for affection and recognition, found herself irresistibly drawn to Ishida's charisma and the promise of a life free from the constraints of her past. Section 5. The Abyss of Obsession, a Love Transcending Boundaries. Their affair was a tempestuous one, marked by periods of intense passion and bitter arguments. Sada, consumed by her love for Ishida, became increasingly possessive, demanding his undivided attention and affection. Ishida, on the other hand, was a man accustomed to getting what he wanted, a player in the game of love who enjoyed the thrill of the chase more than the conquest itself. As their relationship spiraled deeper into the abyss of obsession, Sada's grip on reality began to loosen, her love for Ishida morphing into a dangerous and all-consuming force. Section 6. The Night of the Crimson Moon, a Murder Most Foul. The night of May 18, 1936 would forever be etched in the annals of Japanese crime. It was a night that began like any other, with the bustling streets of Tokyo alive with the hum of activity. But as the moon rose high and cast its crimson glow over the city, a dark tale of passion and madness was about to unfold. It was a night when passion turned into madness, when the boundaries between love and obsession blurred beyond recognition. The city, bathed in the eerie light of the full moon, seemed to hold its breath, as if anticipating the tragedy that was about to occur. In a modest home, hidden away from the prying eyes of the world, two lovers were locked in an embrace that would soon turn deadly. The warmth of their love, once a source of comfort, became a suffocating grip that neither could escape. After a night of intense lovemaking, their passion reached a fever pitch. The room, filled with the scent of incense and the soft glow of lanterns, bore witness to their final moments together. Sada, driven by a force she could no longer control, found herself consumed by a desire that defied reason. Her love for Ishida had transformed into an all-encompassing obsession, one that demanded the ultimate sacrifice. As Ishida slept, unaware of the danger that loomed, Sada's hands tightened around his neck. The act was swift yet deliberate, a chilling testament to the depths of her madness. The act, she would later confess, was not one of hate but of love, a desperate attempt to possess him completely, even in death. Her tears, mingled with ink, stained the confession letter she penned with trembling hands. In her mind, this was the only way to ensure that Ishida would be hers forever. The love letters they had exchanged, once symbols of their deep affection, now served as haunting reminders of a love that had spiraled out of control. In that moment of ultimate transgression, Sada crossed the Rubicon, sealing her fate and ensuring her place in the pantheon of Japan's most notorious criminals. The bridge she crossed that night was not just a physical one, but a metaphorical passage into infamy. Her arrest and subsequent trial captivated the nation, as the details of her crime were laid bare for all to see. The courtroom, filled with curious onlookers and reporters, became a stage for the tragic tale of love and madness that had led to such a gruesome end. Sada's name would forever be etched in history, a reminder of the thin line between passion and insanity. Section 7. In the shadow of the rising sun, the gruesome revelation. The days that followed were a blur for Sada. She was engulfed in a whirlwind of emotions, unable to escape the haunting memories of her actions. Lost in a haze of grief and remorse, she wandered the streets of Tokyo, her mind a labyrinth of sorrow and regret. Each step she took was heavy with the weight of her crime. She carried with her a gruesome memento of her crime, Ishida's severed genitals, wrapped carefully in a cloth. This macabre keepsake was a constant reminder of the irreversible act she had committed. It was a final act of possession, a desperate attempt to hold on to the love she had lost. In her twisted mind, this token symbolized her undying love and the depth of her obsession. A macabre token of her undying love, it was both a source of comfort and torment. She clung to it as if it were the last piece of her shattered heart. Her wanderings eventually led her to a hotel room, a place where she sought solace from the chaos within her mind. The room was a silent witness to her inner turmoil. In the solitude of the hotel room, she attempted to take her own life, hoping to escape the unbearable pain and guilt that consumed her. She believed that death was the only way to find peace. However, fate had other plans. Sada's suicide attempt failed, leaving her to face the consequences of her actions. The weight of her crime was inescapable. She was apprehended by the authorities, her capture marking the end of her tragic journey. The once elusive fugitive was now in the hands of justice. Her arrest brought to a close one of the most sensational crime sprees in Japan's history. The nation was gripped by the shocking details of her case, and Sada's name became synonymous with infamy. Section 8. A nation in shock, media frenzy, and public outrage. The news of Sada Abe's crime spread like wildfire through Japan, igniting a media frenzy of unprecedented proportions. Newspapers published lurid accounts of the murder, speculating on Sada's motives and portraying her as a femme fatale, a modern-day siren who lured men to their doom. The public, both horrified and enthralled by the details of the crime, devoured every scrap of information about the case. Sada Abe became a household name, a symbol of female sexuality and the dangers of unchecked desire. Section 9. The trial of Sada Abe, justice or spectacle. Sada Abe's trial was a media circus, attracting crowds eager to catch a glimpse of the woman who had captivated the nation's imagination. The prosecution painted her as a cold-blooded killer, a woman driven by lust and jealousy. The defense, on the other hand, argued that she was a victim of circumstance, a woman driven to madness by the intensity of her love. The trial became a battleground for societal norms and expectations, a public forum for debating the role of women, the nature of love, and the boundaries of acceptable behavior. Section 10. Legacy of the Forbidden, Cultural Impact and Cinematic Interpretations. Sada Abe's story, a potent cocktail of love, madness and murder, has resonated through the decades, inspiring countless books, films and plays. Her tale has been told and retold, analyzed and reinterpreted, each iteration adding a new layer of complexity to the already intricate tapestry of her life. From Nagisa Oshima's controversial masterpiece in the realm of the senses to more recent adaptations, Sada Abe's story continues to fascinate and provoke, challenging our perceptions of love, desire, and the dark side of the human psyche. Section 11, Echoes in the Sands of Time, a final word on Sada Abe. Sada Abe's life was a tragedy, a cautionary tale of a woman consumed by her own desires. Her story, though rooted in a specific time and place, speaks to universal themes of love, loss, and the eternal struggle between passion and reason. Even today, decades after her crime, Sada Abe's ghost continues to haunt the collective consciousness of Japan, a reminder of the dark side of human nature and the enduring power of forbidden love.